Okay, what is going on, everybody? RogersBase here with my live reaction to One Piece manga chapter 1117. Obviously, we are live right now on YouTube with the vertical stream, and we're also live right now horizontally on Twitch. And the secondary YouTube channel has the backup of the horizontal as well. So if you want to watch the horizontal version, make sure to go subscribe to my backup channel. Now, without any further ado, and hello to everybody who's watching over on Twitch as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get started with One Piece manga chapter 1117. This one is titled A. That's it. By the way, happy Father's Day to everybody out there. All the dads out there, happy Father's Day. Hello to my dad. Hello to all the dads out there. You guys are saying you are in for a banger. It's a good chapter. I cannot wait. All right. Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest, The Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 7. I'll pay my respects to the code of the Yakuza before I go. And we've got Yamato giving a hug and a squeeze to Nekomamushi. You got Old Man Hyo down there as well. Very, very cute. And anything else in this opening bit that I need to notice? I feel like, for the most part, this one's pretty cut and dry. I'm looking at the page. I think it looks cute. I think the idea of him writing, I'll pay my respects to the code of the Yakuza before I go, could imply a number of things. I'm assuming it's just implying Yamato giving a hug to Nekomamushi before going off to go see the rest of Wano. Or it could be before I go, and before I leave, and before I join the Straw Hat crew after the events of Egghead. But I'm not holding my breath. I already did the biggest L stream. I already guessed long, long ago that Yamato was going to be a Straw Hat. I was wrong. Let us continue. 1117. Pirate Island. So what's he saying, huh? That there's buried treasure on the seafloor all over the world? Don't be stupid. You think the whole world was the city of gold? Is that Pearl in the back? On the left, there's like a dude that says kill. And then next to him, it looks like Pearl. You can see the giant like clock-looking outfit with, with the circle on it. That's kind of cool. Wait a minute, hold on. Wait, let me look. Wait, let me zoom in. Oh, that totally is Pearl. Is that Krieg? On the right? Is that Gin? He beefed up. I kind of like Krieg's new look with the long hair. And Gin with the long hair as well. Okay. All right, that's interesting. I guess, to be fair, we hadn't seen Pearl and Krieg and Gin's reaction to everything yet. But are they on full alert? It says Pirate Island. So are they with... See, my mind is like getting blown three ways to Sunday. Are they with Blackbeard now? Are Krieg and Gin and Pearl part of Blackbeard's crew? I'd love that if that ends up being the case. Cool. Okay, not what I was expecting, but neat. People have been waiting for Gin to actually be part of the story again for so long. So it's cool to see this. And I do kind of like the new design with the long hair for both of them. I mean, Krieg looks awesome with the sunglasses. That is not how I would expected that he would have looked in the post-time skip era. And yet here we are. I like it. Okay, let us continue. What's he saying? That there's buried treasure on the seafloor all over the world. Don't be stupid. You think the whole world was the city of gold. And it's 200 meters down. How will you get there? You're going to end up a sea beast snack. Well, I don't know. I've heard that there are ships that can go underwater. And the rest of them are like, you got money for that? It'd be easier to make friends with a mermaid. And then they're like, now there's a tempting idea, as you see the mermaids floating through as well. Grand Line. That's long before Nolan's day. Oh, cricket! Okay. What a tale. And you got the Monkey Brothers ship. Ooh, what a tale. Are you ready for another dive? Now, this is really the stuff of dreams. Interesting, too. I never even considered all that stuff with the diving and with the Monkey Brothers. Interesting. That maybe they're going to come into play, like finding remnants of the ancient cities. Kind of cool. Okay. Navy GS General Hospital. Are you all right, Kobe? So he's saying that the One Piece is ... And you got Helmeppo there as well. It sure is a lot to take in. You got Kobe's girlfriend there as well. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I need to jot all of this down for later. My mind just can't keep up. Okay, and you got Groose there, basically the remnants of everything that happened. After Garp, we're seeing the rest of the good Marines there. Suru's granddaughter with the whip, very nice. The captain's recovering well, but he really wants to be alone. He don't want to be alone. Leave his little girlfriend over there. Leave Hibari over there. This appears to be leading us to a pretty dangerous conclusion, don't you think, Prince? I sure do. It seems like an answer that shouldn't be. But then, that's where we step in. Okay. Drake? Okay. We're seeing some good faces. All right. Drake recovering. And he's at the Navy hospital, which again makes sense after Wano. I was wondering, okay. Oh, this is cool. New World. Tashigi and Smoker? Where are you, Smoker? I'm at the GS General Hospital, riding on his bike. I know this information is in bits and pieces, but if I were to say more, it would simply be speculation. Well, just tell us. Tell us, what did Roger leave behind? Dude, I'm right there with this dude in the crowd. I want to know more information. And we're jumping to Egghead. Okay. Cool that they showed Drake. I am really happy about that. Egghead. Look, the barrier's coming down. But what was that huge noise earlier? That scared me. And you could see the blocks, and you could see the barrier. It looks like the clouds have stopped extending outward. We've got plenty of room as it is, and there's enough distance for the ship to land in water. But it sounds like there's a whole bunch of enemy ships right where we land. Interesting looking shot there as well. I think I'm on Manga Plus right now. I'm actually going to switch over to Viz real quick, because it wasn't available when I started the stream, but I feel like this seems like a double page spread kind of thing. So I'm switching on over. Okay, I'm on page 4 and 5 of Viz. It looks like the clouds have stopped extending outward. We've got plenty of room as is. There's enough distance for the ship to land in water, but it sounds like there's a whole bunch of enemy ships right where we land. Okay, and I'm expanding this too. Cola barrels are loaded. We can fire them off at any time. All right, are you here yet, Jinbei? And you got Brook there as well. And okay, Jinbei and Zoro saying almost there, but we're on the heels of a mysterious monster, okay? So they're chasing down Venus Churro. Why are you going on a detour? Get back here at once. It's not a detour. The monster is heading for you. Watch out. Dude, why is Oda consistently making Venus Churro the coolest looking dude? His presence is truly overwhelming. And you can see their eyeballs popping out. The 5 elders, huh? Fishman Jujitsu. Piggyback, 2 sword style, restful paradise, Rashomon. And you can see Zoro leaping off, trying his best. We already had Sanji getting hit off against the Gorosei. Zoro's like, I'm not going to get left behind, going against Venus Churro as well. Great shot. I love that shot on page 6 of him right before he's hitting the Sunny. Very cool. Piggyback 2 sword style. Rashomon. Okay, you can see the Conqueror's Hockey coming off of it. Ooh. Venus Churro recognizes Zoro's sword, saying Kitetsu, jumping back to those theories from way back when about the swords of the Gorosei and the 5 elders, as you see the slice between the two. Zoro, push off. We're going to jump on now while you still can. Okay. Northeast coast of Egghead. Where are you, Straw Hat? Hurry up. We can't last forever. And you can see the rest of them going, it's just one ship. Forget the legends. Sink that old Elbaf junker to the seafloor. Well, I can't seem to get a connection through. Come on, Luffy. I'm almost there. Get the ship moving. He's just going to yell really loudly? Oh, goody. You see the fire there. Oimo, Kashi, oi, let's set sail. You got it, Captain. Swing her around and don't let her escape. And you got some more of the giant pirates there as well. Some dude with a bow and arrow. Got a guy dual wielding. Stand firm. They're fossil pirates from 100 years ago. Drive them off, boys. We can't handle them, sir. All ships, leave positions and focus on our target. I want an all-out assault. And you can see one of them crawling out of the ground, eating up one of the ships, another one holding on for dear life. Another one, I don't even know where that one is standing. Is he actually on the ship? Holding up the giant piece of meat with the giant sword? Interesting. What is this sorry display? Don't each and every one of you want to carry justice on your back? Act like the heroes you are, not a bunch of scrubs. Vice Admiral Bluegrass, and you can see her on the back of the giant sea beach giraffe again. Put a hole in the ship, and I'll put one in you too. Okay, Hot Topic employee coming on over here with armament hockey, trying to take on some of these giants. Rock and roll blaster. Let's go, Vice Admiral Dahl. I love a good brawler. Kashi! Keep it up. So what if these guys are giants? I love too how the story is expanded to really make it known. Because obviously we were introduced to the giants very early on, like dating back to the stuff with Little Garden. And I think a lot of people maybe didn't expect that when we eventually were going to see them in the post-time skip story again, that they weren't going to be as strong as they were hyped up way back when. But now actually seeing them, like actually seeing a group of giants standing toe-to-toe with these hyped up Vice Admirals, it's cool, man. You can see they're really putting in the work. These nameless giants are taking on named Vice Admirals. Very, very cool. Keep it up, so what if they're giants? And you can see him over there. At some point, the boar stopped chasing. Well, that's good news. Now we can just hop on the ship. But where did he go? Now we can set sail. And you can see Luffy back in his normal form, standing on the back of Dory and Bragi. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Beautiful, beautiful shot of the robot. Ooh. And the fire and all the Gorosei coming down on the robot. I have one final message to impart to those scattered throughout the world. Oh. Okay. And you see, hey, isn't that's the Iron Giant that attacked Marijoa 200 years ago. I am certain of it. Further confirmation, they were around way back when. Further confirmation, there's some weird stuff going on. Very cool. I love the way that he's been drawing the stuff with the giant and how there's this cool, different kind of art style where everything's scratchy and dark and black with the smoke coming out of everything. Gorgeous. Those who bear the name of D, tell me, Vegapunk. And they're like, don't you dare. Oh, man. Sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on. I looked down and I saw Dragon and Sabo. Kobe. Interesting, they're showing Kobe, Blackbeard, and Beppo. Now, okay. Those who bear the name D. Dragon. Sabo's thinking Ace and Luffy. Kobe's thinking Luffy and Vice Admiral Garp. Beppo is thinking of his captain, Trafalgar D. Waterlaw, hyping this up, putting him on the level of Luffy and Dragon and Garp. Bro. And Blackbeard looking off to the corner like, bro. Oh, and they're beating the robot before he could say. Enough of this as he slams into the robot. Great double page spread, flying off in the back. Enough of this, Vegapunk. And you can see the robot landing down. Oh, the static of the message cutting it out. No. What was it he was going to say? And Vivi too with Morgans and Wapple. And Wapple's like, what? D? And Vivi now knowing what we know, that she's got the will of D after what Cobra said. Is the signal finally jamming? And you see beep, 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 beep. And you see Saturn and Itsumade both there. Beep, 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 beep. It finally stopped. To be continued. One Piece Manga Chapter 1117 end. Wow. Good stuff, man. And no break, it looks like. Next chapter arrives Sunday, June 23rd. We are eating. No break. Lovely. Oh, this is good stuff, man. Wow. There's some good stuff to digest here. I'm excited to jump into like the review portion because I do feel like upon reading through the chapter again. We got some good reaction shots, some great action stuff with the giants, but I feel like he teased out a lot of potential future story things in this chapter. There's a lot. Shout out, by the way, to everyone who's in here right now. And Mr. Dens in the chat just said, by the way, not only is there no break next week, there's also no break after that. We're not going to be on break for a while because of the schedules. Fantastic. Great. See, I'm so used to having breaks every now and then, and I know he took his month-long break. This is fantastic. I'm happy about that. No worries there. Leslie saying, love this for us. Also, the chapter title was interesting. The chapter title was very interesting. Why was it called A? It's just A. Just the letter A. What is that in reference to? Rock and Roll Blaster. I'm glad you brought that up. That would be weird if maybe the next chapter is B, the next chapter is C after that, and then finally we get the chapter and it's just D, and that's where you discover the will of D. I could actually, you know what? I could see Oda doing that. I could see a world in which this chapter is called A, that the next chapter is B, and it's the Gorosei thinking that the broadcast is over after Vegapunk was about to say those who bear the name of D and reveal some big thing. And then the message cut off. But how interesting would it be if it actually went to B and then C the next chapter, and then finally the chapter after that is D, and we get the reveal of the will of D? I would like that. Because I think having two chapters to sort of process what went down, seeing if the robot is withstanding the attack from the Gorosei, and making sure that the Straw Hats and everybody make it back safe. Because again, Zoro and Jinbei are fighting Venus Juro right now. Yeah, I am curious what this means for the rest of the arc. I will say pretty strongly, I know we've been saying this the past couple chapters, but I do feel it after reading this one. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think we have much more. I really don't. I was thinking, oh, maybe we'll stay in Egghead a little bit longer after the past few. I don't think we are. I really think we are moving off now. I think all the stuff with the Giants, Dory and Broggy, Luffy being there. I think a lot of us already assumed, myself included, that Elbaf was probably going to start around the end of the summer. But it feels clear to me now. I also wouldn't be surprised, though, despite what I just said about like the A, B, C, D thing, I also wouldn't be surprised if we don't find out the Will of D stuff now, and that is a revelation for Elbaf. Because honestly, we've gotten plenty of lore in Egghead. I don't necessarily think we need like more lore right now. As much as I love it, you can give me 10 lore chapters in a row and I'm going to be happy. I don't really feel like I need more. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need more action necessarily. You could just keep giving me information about the world. But I also feel like we're kind of lored out at this point. I feel like we are in the end game, right? Clearly we are in the final saga, revealing the stuff about the world drowning, seeing the reactions of literally every character. Again, in this chapter, seeing Krieg and Gin and Pearl again. Like, I know I didn't have that big of a reaction. I was more just kind of surprised to see them in the beginning. Like, I knew it was Pearl right away, and then it took a minute to look over to the right-hand side of the panel and see Krieg and Gin. Like, I feel like, I don't know, unless you're like a die-hard Don Krieg and Gin fan, I don't know if you would have necessarily recognized Gin especially immediately. His jacket looks kind of different. I think you have to make the assumption based off of seeing Pearl. But then again, you know, there have been so many people that have been waiting. It's almost become a meme at this point of people waiting to see what Gin is up to. I think it's interesting that they're with the Blackbeard pirates as well. Because I honestly thought that maybe Krieg and Gin and some of those like East Blue pirates that we haven't seen in a minute, I was almost thinking for a bit that we might see them as part of a potential Impel Down 2.0 kind of breakout towards the end of the story. Like maybe that we would see Arlong again there, and that Cross Guild would basically have and amass all the different characters that were all previous East Blue villains. I think it's very, very interesting to see that. Shout out, by the way, to all the people donating right now. Greatly appreciate that. I'm going to get to donations in a minute. We still got to see James's thumbnail. I still got stuff I want to talk about in regards to this chapter. Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, I like I said, would not have known that was Krieg and Gin if not for Pearl. So I'm glad that he dropped Pearl in frame, so then your eye could sort of track over and realize that's them. I do wonder if that's going to come up again, though. Like, if that is actually going to be something that's going to be talked about with the Blackbeard Pirates, if that is going to end up being something that becomes a plot line in the future, we actually end up seeing them fighting or something, or if that's just a cool little Easter egg at the end, now that we're seeing everybody's reactions. I love it, though. Man, oh man, oh man. And then seeing all the Marines again, seeing that Drake is with them, getting confirmation that Drake is okay after Wano Country, and that he's back with the Marines, that he's chilling with Kobe and with Groose and Helmapo and Hibari and Suru's granddaughter. Man, I am wondering, though, because they're off yammering in the other room. He's in the bed on the other side of the room. Huh. I'm wondering what's going to happen there. I'm almost wondering if they're setting up stuff with him. And we see Smoker on his way to Toshigi as well, saying that he's at the General Hospital. Oda's cooking there. I don't quite know what he's got planned, but I do feel he's cooking, getting them all in the same location. All these Marines that are essentially allies of ours. Drake and Kobe and Smoker, they're all there. So I do think it's setting up for something, which could potentially be what I was bringing up during that stream I did like last month about charting out the end of One Piece and planning out like where everybody is going to be in Final War. I could see them all being together, healing up at this hospital, and then heading off to Final War together as well. And sort of maybe seeing like the bad Marines, quote unquote, going against us. And then all of a sudden, the good guys come over to the other side and you have that moral quandary between the two of them. Really, really, really good. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This appears to be leading us to a pretty dangerous conclusion, don't you think, Prince? I sure do. It seems like an answer that shouldn't be. I need to jot all this down. Because, again, they're finding out the information from Vegapunk's broadcast as well, at the same time that we are. And I do feel like this new Marine group, when they unveil the truth about the world and find out how much the world government has been hiding, I'm seeing the revolt. I see the wheels turning. I see what Oda's cooking. And again, like I mentioned during my initial reaction to this chapter as well, seeing the Saruman brothers, seeing the Monkey brothers there, knowing Nolan's connection and Montbot Cricket, and then the Saruman brothers and their whole thing when they were first introduced pre-time skip, diving and like going underwater and searching for treasures and potentially like them discovering something of the ancient kingdom or of a kingdom that sank before. This is cool stuff, man. Really, really cool stuff. And then, of course, I gotta say, one of the other awesome things, seeing that piggyback moment with Jinbei just basically fastballing Zoro to the other side of the screen as he's fighting Venus Juro. And you get Venus Juro about to slash the ship, and then Zoro stopping him with the Rashomon attack. And again, really brilliant the way that Oda coded in some of the stuff there. One, with having the introduction of this attack. Two, showing off the Clash of Conquerors hockey. And then three, having that bit where, in the moment, Venus Juro recognizes Kitetsu, I think is very, very cool. Like having that moment where he looks over and sees among the Clash of Swords, one of the ancient swords, one of the graded swords, knowing what we know about the other ones out there and our assumption that Venus Juro had one, it's just cool. And I like that they're setting up this fight. I don't fully expect a fight between the two of them with where we are in the story right now. I just don't see it happening. I don't think we're going to get full-on Venus Juro and Zoro during Egghead Island. I feel like this clash is exactly what it looks like on the page, where you see Zoro knocking him away and sort of pushing him back as the ship is safely landing on the clouds, and Jinbei catching Zoro and saying, push off, we're going to jump on the ship. I feel like that is all we're going to get for now. I do feel like we are probably going to end up getting more of that in the future. Like, I could see a full-on clash between the two of them, maybe at Final War. But I think for the time being, for the purposes of escaping and wanting to meet up with the other giants and the Thousand Sunny and the Straw Hat and everything coming together, I do feel like that's it. I think we get a cool clash. I think that's also cool because we had that moment with Sanji versus Venus Juro as well. So again, the two wings of the Pirate King. Like, I know people always like to have their power scaling and say, oh, Zoro's stronger, Sanji's stronger, or whatever. But I do feel like time and time again, Oda does throw things in there to put them kind of on equal footing. Not that they necessarily are. Like, I genuinely believe Zoro is probably a little stronger than Sanji. But I do think, again, showing them have kind of equal feats during the same story arc is interesting to me. I just think it's interesting. And then, of course, we get the stuff with Bonnie. Moving on through, Atlas and Sanji. The stuff with the Giants versus the Vice Admiral. Again, as I mentioned during my reaction, great action panels there. On equal footing with them. Very, very cool. Really, though, I think the highlight of this chapter is the stuff with the giant robot, right? The Gorosei descending upon them. The rest of them being like, wait, why aren't they chasing us anymore? Because they realize now that the thing is inside the giant robot, we have bigger fish to fry. We can't worry about Luffy right now. They're all off. They take down the robot. I mean, that it took 4 of them is kind of interesting. And that, again, seeding out more information there with the Gorosei and what their role was in the story and how long they've been alive. Having that moment where one of them realizes, Itsumade says, it's the Iron Giant that attacked Marijoa 200 years ago. I'm certain of it. It's very cool. And then, of course, that last bit, those who bear the name of D. That panel that got me hype. Again, thinking about who they're putting in that panel. Again, think about what we got in this chapter. The stuff with the Marines that we needed to see again. The diving Saruman brothers and knowing about the stuff with the Sunken Kingdoms. And then now this. Him saying those who bear the name of D. They could have shown a lot of characters that have the will of D. But they're specifically showing Dragon and Blackbeard in the flesh. They're showing Sabo and Kobe both thinking of, with one of them being Luffy and Ace and the other one being Luffy and Garp. And then they show Beppo. I think it is fascinating that he's showing Beppo thinking of Law in this moment, which again further says to me Law's role within Final War and the stuff with the immortality surgery is absolutely going to come into play and be very important. And as a Law fanboy, as someone whose favorite character is Law, hearing Law's name amongst Luffy, Ace, Garp, Dragon, and Blackbeard in that panel, and again, goes back to my theory about Sabo versus Akainu in Final War, and him calling out Ace's name, and the will passing on through Sabo, and Sabo, actually overcoming all the stuff that Akainu was saying about Ace, where Akainu told Ace near his final moments that your fruit will never beat my fruit, that your fire will never be stronger than my magma, and then setting up for Sabo to fight Akainu in Final War, and overcoming him with the fruit that Akainu specifically said he would never be beaten by. It's peak, man. It's peak. I love it. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it, man. So good. And then, of course, the final bit right there. Knocking into the robot, knocking him away. You get the broadcast staticking out. You hear Obi in the background barking because he wished we would have gotten more. And then again, very important, you see Vivi saying, what is he going to say? Us as the reader, now knowing that Vivi's got the will of D. Wapol and Morgan's, the signal's jamming. The beep, beep, beep. It's finally stopped and we're done. Beautiful. Fantastic chapter. I really, really genuinely enjoyed this one. Again, I feel like I've been liking the majority of them for a while now, but I do feel like this one is very good. I see Tim over on Twitch saying, I feel like we're going to Elbaf now, and we're getting a giant training arc for the Straw Hats. No pun intended. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's going to be a training arc. I think people who are maybe expecting a training arc at Elbaf are probably expecting too much. I don't really think it's going to be that. But I do obviously think we're going to Elbaf next, and I do genuinely believe that we will see Luffy fighting with the Giants and then maybe Usopp training. But I don't think it's going to be the majority of the Straw Hats. I don't really think we even really need a full-on extra training arc for them. I do think it would be cool if they all develop new techniques in Elbaf, but I think with all the stuff that we still have left within the story and seeing everything else that's happening moving forward and all the different story threads that are being seeded out, I don't necessarily know if we even have time for that, nor do I, to be completely frank with you, want that. I don't really want a full-on extra training arc. I would almost rather that stuff kind of be off-screened, and instead we get more story, and instead we get more story revelations. Again, nothing wrong with action chapters. I love a good action chapter. But for me, the stuff that really gets my blood flowing and the stuff that gets me excited are these chapters in which we end up getting, like big lore revelations and stuff like that. And again, like Heidi is saying in my YouTube chat, I do think we're going to get a lot of lore coming up in Elbaf. Completely agree. All right. With that being said, let me open up the Google Drive because I want to see what James did for this chapter. So let me open this up over here. open this on up. I want to see what he drew. I'm so happy that we're not going on break this week. That is awesome, man. Ooh, oh, man, this is beautiful. Oh, I'm glad he took the opportunity to draw the giant robot as well. Because honestly, I don't know how much more we're going to see of this thing after the Gorosayer beating it up and knocking it off. Like, this is really, really nice. I also love the colorization. I don't think we've really had like a brown-green looking thumbnail in a while. I love the stylization of the yellow Dragon Ball looking smoke off the bottom as well. Very, very cool. Man, beautiful one here. Wow, wow, wow. The glow in his eyes. All the little moss that he put growing off of him as well, too. Gorgeous lighting, James. Man, oh man, oh man. Beautiful stuff. You got everybody in the chat saying this is indeed great. It is. I mean, James never disappoints. I feel like you guys know this at this point. James's art is always incredible. James is always coming through, doing amazing things. We love James. We appreciate James. Man, oh man, oh man. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. I'm actually going to leave this on screen while I'm reading out Super Chat donations. I think that's lovely. All right, let me read some of this stuff off and see what people have been saying. Let me open up my dashboard. Man, yeah, I love what he did here with the lighting and everything. And it's nice and simple, too. I feel like you need something that's simple, that's going to draw people's attention to the video afterwards. Couldn't be better than this. Absolutely lovely. All right. Let me open this up. Alert box. And let's see what people are saying. I got to say, total side note, I really don't like how Streamlabs has changed their layout where you can't necessarily see everything. You have to go to like a different page on the dashboard. Here we go. Alert box, donations, recent events. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Different super chats, subscriptions. Okay. Austin Smith came through with a member message. 45 months saying that first panel is awesome. So happy to see Gin back. Sletton resubscribed on Twitch. Thank you very much. Terrence Matthews donated via Super Chat and said, they're actually both saying simultaneously Kitetsu if you go back and look at that page. Are they? Wait, I'll pull this on over here. Wait a minute. Give me a second. Here we go. I thought it was just Venus Zoro. I didn't think it was Zoro. Why would Zoro be screaming out the name of his own sword? That's kind of weird. No, I think you're wrong. I think that is Venus Zoro. You see and they're saying it at the same time. I don't think Zoro is screaming Kitetsu. Why would he be screaming Kitetsu? For what reason? It's not an attack. His attack is not named Kitetsu. Unless he just saw the other one and just is saying, oh, a Kitetsu. Maybe that's why. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll accept that I'm wrong. I see Poof resubscribed with a big thumbs up. Thank you very much, Poof. Patchwork Prince resubscribed. Rob Harley resubscribed. Elder Vault came through with a super chat saying, not sure if you've already seen this, but look at the background characters on page 1 of Full OLED. Yeah, we talked about it earlier with Egan Gin and Pearl. Very cool. Ace donated and said, I honestly feel like Egghead could end next chapter or within the next 4 or 5. We're currently at 59 right now in terms of chapters, so I could see it going to maybe 60 to 65 chapters. I definitely could see that happening as well. I feel like, you know, there's a lot more that they could give us, but again, I do feel like we're kind of lured out at this point. I feel like Oda wants to save other lore reveals for other story arcs, so I don't necessarily think we're going to get that much more. But again, I wouldn't complain. I mean, I've been loving Egghead. I think there's a lot of good stuff that's been happening, so yeah. Mike Moore super chatted and said, the chapter title in Japanese is Mo, the last sound Vegapunk makes before the video is cut off. We've been waiting for Viz to see how they were going to translate it, and now we see Mo translated to A. Huh. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just A. They were going to say something. Those who bear the will of D, A. I mean, what I think he was going to say, if I could throw a theory out there, what I think he might have said in that moment, if it was A, is that those who bear the will of D, a storm is coming. Something along those lines, right? Because the whole thing is like those who bear the will of D bring on the storm. I could see something along those lines of him like warning of an oncoming conflict. But I could be wrong. Let me see. Austin Smith, super chatting again, bringing up if we saw Krieg, Gin, and Pearl. I do wonder if we're going to see Kuro at some point. Please. I'm a big fan of Kuro. I've always loved Kuro's designs from way back when. I've said this on so many streams at this point. I've mentioned that my first chapter that I ever read within One Piece was actually from Serp Village, so I have a lot of nostalgia for that arc. So I would love to see Kuro show up, absolutely. Hollow Avarice also donated and said, I would love to see the earliest villains like Krieg, Arlong, and Kuro all uniting under Blackbeard, and that we would be able to see them in Final War. I don't see a world in which Arlong would work with Blackbeard. I do see a world in which Kuro would do that. I feel like Arlong is going to do his own thing. He's like very pro-Fishman. I don't see him teaming up with Blackbeard at any time. As cool as that would be, I just don't see that happening. But Kuro and Krieg, for sure. Like, obviously, we didn't see Kuro this chapter. We only saw Krieg, Gin, and Pearl, but I could most definitely see that happening. Chaos Lurlin donated and said, I only just realized that Don and Don Krieg might be a wordplay that plays on Dawn. Maybe the Dawn War will help usher in the big war arc. Dawn Krieg? I don't think we're going to be seeing Dawn Krieg bringing on a new Dawn anytime soon. I don't think that's what the Dawn in his name stands for. Funny idea, but I don't think that's the case. No. Mike Moore donated and said, each chapter I keep getting crew splitting up vibes. I'm feeling it more and more towards the end, and I really do hope the Straw Hats stay together. I don't know. I don't think he's going to do that again. I think Oda has split up the crew so much in recent years with a lot of these, obviously the split up after Dressrosa. They were split up again, Whole Cake Island. They were still split up for a good portion of Wano Country before coming together. I don't think he's going to split them up again. If anything, I could maybe see them arriving at Elbaf at different times. That maybe the crew splits in terms of their own safety. That we get the group that's in the Thousand Sunny, the group that's with Bonnie, and the group that's with Luffy, and that they all arrive separately to Elbaf. But I think at the end of the day, all of their destinations are one and the same. They're all going specifically to Elbaf. So I don't necessarily think... I guess to be fair, a lot of them headed off to Zoe towards Dressrosa as well, and they said, we'll meet you on Zoe. I mean, maybe I could see something like that, in which some of the Straw Hats stay behind, some of them get to Elbaf early. Maybe. But what I want to say clearly is I do genuinely believe that all of them will be present for Elbaf. I don't see a world in which the Straw Hats will be separated for this story arc that has been hyped up time and time again. I don't see that happening. Yeah. I don't see that happening. Let me see this. What else do we have? If Oda, this one comes from Zaro Arctivus, who donated, who said, if Oda asked you to create a devil fruit power, what would you choose? And also, have you been to the Straw Hat statues in Kumamoto? I plan to visit them next year when I visit Japan. I actually haven't yet. I've been to Japan multiple times now, and I have not been to the Straw Hat statues, mostly due to the fact that they're kind of out of the way. If I was going to do it, I need to do it on a trip in which I am going to Kyoto and I take the bullet train all the way up, which, to be fair, is what I'm currently planning. We don't have exact dates for this, but the plan is to go in spring next year, where we're going to go for cherry blossom season, go to the opening of the Nintendo Museum, go to Donkey Kong World, and then eventually take the train all the way up. Maybe hit Kumamoto, and then do Tokyo, and then go to northern Japan. We're not going to stay in Tokyo very long. I think we've done Tokyo so many times for so long at this point. I really do want to see northern Japan. I want to go to Hokkaido. I want to go to some of those other areas. Excuse me. But yeah, I would love to see the Straw Hat statues for sure. I think it would be a lot of fun to see them. I think it would make for good YouTube shorts of me being like, hey, you guys will never guess where I am. Hey, and then it's at the Straw Hat statues. That'd be kind of cool. So yeah, I would love to go there. But if Oda asked you what devil fruit power would you choose to create a devil fruit power, I would have him create the olive fruit. I'd have him make the olive fruit where someone attacks with olive oil. There you go. I don't know. David Ortiz donated through Super Chats and said, Zoro is far stronger than Sanji. Sanji doesn't even have advanced haki. Frozen by Saturn, couldn't hold back Venus Juro even with the Giants' help. Look, I am not saying that I do not believe that Zoro is not stronger than Sanji. I believe Zoro is stronger than Sanji. I am just saying, knowing certain things that I know, Oda likes and thinks of them on sort of an even plane. Despite everything that goes on within the power scaling community, despite the fun, despite the feats, he thinks of them in the same way as wings of the Pirate King, and they're kind of on an even level. Again, doesn't necessarily show in the story, and I feel it's very clear that Zoro was stronger, but it's not how Oda thinks. This is what it is. Fabrizio became a member, greatly appreciated. Nakama, thank you very much, Fabrizio. Nakama. And donated as well, saying, I'm thinking about Morgan's next issue. It's going to be big news indeed. I mean, like, what is Morgan's even going to focus on? There's so much stuff that happened in this chapter and so much stuff in that broadcast. How is he going to write it all out in some quick summary? I mean, like, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was something that was pointed out to me earlier in the live chat that maybe I'll pull up on stream. Someone said that someone out there did a full text layout of Vegapunk's speech and everything that he said and how long it actually looks. I do wonder how Morgan's would end up publishing that. Is he going to turn it into a summary? Is he going to do a cliff notes? Is he going to make theories of himself of what happened? I love Morgan's. Whatever Morgan's ends up doing in the story, I'm here for it. But I agree, whatever the next issue of the newspaper is, it's going to be big news indeed. But really, who's going to buy the newspaper? The majority of the world set up their Denden Mushis to watch what was going on anyway. But I guess not everybody has access to a Denden Mushi. Not everybody has the privilege of having a Denden Mushi. They got to wait for the newspaper. Either way, though, then they're going to get the newspaper and they might not believe it. It's going to take people who actually read the broadcast saying these things and convincing them that something's going on. Great stuff, man. This is all really exciting stuff, though. Mike Moore donated again and said, do we still expect more to come with Vegapunk and Frankie? Some upgrades or even a let me show you some things and the conversation is off-screened? Mike, I'm going to say something that I think is going to make you sad, and I'm very sorry to tell you this, and I'm sorry that it ended up happening. I think that is one plot thread that's probably not going to be fulfilled. I think that's one thing, as I said, going into Egghead and going into the final saga in my videos and talking about how not everything is going to get a substantial amount of time dedicated to it in the same way that I think people were expecting, and that really the story is closer to its end than people are realizing. I kind of feel like the majority of the Frankie Vegapunk stuff is kind of done. I think the opportunity was there for a lot of good Frankie stuff in early Egghead. I unfortunately don't think we're going to get much more. I think our best case scenario in terms of more Frankie, Vegapunk, developing new technology type stuff is going to be in the remnants of the rest of the Vegapunks, right? In Lilith and Atlas and whoever is left after the confrontation on Egghead, and them potentially working with Frankie if they travel to Elbaf with Frankie to develop new weapons. But I think the opportunity for Vegapunk proper to work with Frankie on some type of new technology is done at this point. I think if Vegapunk is not actually dead after all of this and his heart being stopped and setting off this message, I would be very, very shocked. And I would be more shocked if then the first thing that happens when Vegapunk is alive is to then work with Frankie on new technology. I think the time passed, unfortunately. I think that's one thing we're just not going to see a lot of in the story. As much as it pains me to say it, I don't think it's happening. Yeah. We got another donation. Hold on, my thing's refreshing. Recent events. Oh, this is a membership. This membership comes from Goku48071 saying you've been a member for 25 months now. Thank you very much. Nakama. Appreciate that. Saying, I do think that the Straw Hats will make it to Laugh Tale by chapter 1200 for the milestone, just as you predicted. Couldn't agree more, Goku. I do think that is going to be the Laugh Tale chapter. I agree. But I think there's a lot more to get to and to be resolved before we get to that point. But I do think there is opportunity for them to arrive at Laugh Tale at 1,200. I do. Which again, though, wild to think about when you've got, you know, maybe 5 more chapters of Egghead, 6 more chapters of Egghead left, the entirety of the Elbaf arc, and potentially Final War being within that time frame and then them getting there. I think, if anything, again, things are going to start getting messy in terms of arcs. As I was talking about in that video I did a while ago, talking about the end of One Piece, I feel like things are going to get messy and Elbaf is going to directly lead into Final War, right? The Ragnarok, the death of the Thor, everything happening in Elbaf leading to Final War, leading to the conflict, leading to multiple fronts, leading to Laugh Tale. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I am also very excited for the next chapter, says Dark Midnight. Shout out, by the way, to Soba Mask, becoming a subscriber over on Twitch. Appreciate that. Saying, what do you think of Venus Juro versus Kaido? Do you think there are 5 Gorosei that numerically have the upper hand? What do I think of Venus Juro versus Kaido? Like, if they fought each other? It's tough. That's a tough one to think about. What would I think of Venus Juro versus Kaido? It's tough because Oda's going to make whoever he wants to win in a given situation. And I feel like the Gorosei, where we are currently in Egghead, they're kind of being set up to be like nigh unstoppable, right? They've got crazy healing powers. They're managing to push off Luffy and 2 giants at once. And I feel like Gear 5 Luffy's pretty much taken on everybody at this point. I don't know. I mean, on one hand, wouldn't they have stopped Kaido at some point? Wouldn't they have wanted to stop Kaido? I guess maybe they just didn't see a threat because Kaido wasn't trying to reveal the truth about the world, so they didn't really want to bother with him. But I don't know. Kaido versus Venus Juro. I mean, I feel like Kaido would have probably won against Venus Juro, against the Gorosei. But then again, Luffy's struggling against one of them. So, it's tough. And Luffy obviously beat Kaido. Took a couple times. Maybe try it 4 Gorosei, or excuse me, 5 Gorosei versus 4 Yonko, then who would win? Do you think the Gorosei are stronger than the Yonko? I think the 4 Yonko together. I think if you said Shanks, Blackbeard, I mean, you could do 5v5, right? We could say like when Luffy was the 5th Yonko. Luffy and Big Mom and Kaido and Shanks and Blackbeard. I think the 5 of them would be able to beat the 5 Gorosei, I think. But again, it's tough for the purposes of the story. Because again, like, I don't know. Oda's going to make who he wants to win. I do feel like, though, you are supposed to believe the Yonko are stronger than the Gorosei. But I think power-wise, all of them being here, they're meant to be a threat on that level, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like the Yonko, if they were all to come together, would beat the Gorosei. But I think you're meant to see the Gorosei as a threat on the level of the Yonko. Yeah. Joker's Fallen One donated and said, I do wonder if Vegapunk's message comes back next chapter. Oda really does like his twists, and Vegapunk is a genius. Hopefully he would have a backup. That would actually be kind of cool if there was like a backup and he planned for this to happen the whole time. I would be fine with that. I think that'd be kind of cool. Yeah. I'd be cool with that. I'm looking if there's any other messages that I'm missing real quick. Let me scroll on down. Ace, Elder, bringing up the thing. I don't know if you mentioned the background chapters. We talked about that earlier. Mr. D. Raleigh came through and said, of course he gets cut off when he starts the D. I had a feeling, but it stings. At least we got a lot of info in this chapter. Absolutely. Happy to see that. Let me see if I'm missing any other ones. Any other super chats for the time being. Vegapunk and Frankie, we talked about that a little bit. Vegapunk's message. Straw Hats making it to Laugh Tale. I think that's kind of it. Marley Sama said you didn't finish reading Vegapunk's message? What do you mean? Did you come in midway through? We finished reading the chapter, and then I was sort of rereading it for my review portion. I missed something else? What did I miss? I didn't finish reading it. Wait, let me pull this back over again. Hold on. What did I miss? Those who bear the name of D, within you there is blank. You get the little A and then the dot, 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 and that's it. What am I missing? We talked about that earlier. That the whole thing where I mentioned that like the D brings upon a storm and that within you there is a storm brewing or something is what I think he was saying. Oh, I didn't say within you there is out loud. Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, I read it. I read it twice. I knew what it said. Yeah. Yeah. Because I talked about how I thought that it meant that it's like a storm is brewing or something along those lines is what Vegapunk was going to be saying. Though I could have been wrong. You know, I could have speculated something else, but yeah. And besides Beppo, you missed another panel? Wait, what? I missed another panel. Are people trolling me? Those who bear the name of D, right? Within you there is, and you see all the stuff with the D that I talked about. You get the fight. The robot. I don't think I missed a panel, man. I think I'm good. I mean, I think I looked at everything. I think we're squared away. I don't think there's anything else. I mean, I feel like we've kind of talked about everything in this chapter now at this point. I feel like we're kind of done. Anything else you guys want to discuss? Left Jab is saying people really need to be spoon-fed what you're reading. No, I understand, though. If you're coming into the stream a little later or something and you missed me saying something or you thought that I'm reading everything out loud, like, I understand why people would have not known. It was great to see Don Krieg, Gin, and Pearl returns as India again as well. I am very happy to see them. Yeah. And Spud said, good review this week, Roger. We are eating good from Oda's buffet. Absolutely. Maybe talk a little bit about where you think Smoker is heading. I mean, he straight up said he's at the hospital, right? He brought that up to Tashigi. And we talked about the good Marines potentially being together. With Tashigi saying, where are you? And he's saying, I'm at the GS hospital. So, I mean, we kind of know that. I know this information in bits and pieces, but if I were to say more, it'd be speculation. So again, like him potentially knowing something, potentially telling it to the other good Marines, them having that reaction. We talked about that earlier as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty cut and dry. That's where he's going. I think he's off to go see them. Oh, Leonardo is saying, yeah, so maybe this goes back to the Kitetsu thing, saying, Roger, the Venus Juro sword bit with the two of them saying it together is because of Venus Juro sword being the Shodai Kitetsu, which is why Zoro said it as well. So maybe, yeah, it's his realization that he had one as well. That they're both realizing that they have Kitetsus. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Vivi's return during this chapter was dope. In the Japanese fan community, there's a theory going around that Morgan's was a Roger crewmate? What? Please direct me to that theory. In the Japanese fan community, there's a theory Morgan's was part of Roger's crew. Who? I guess to be fair, we have never seen Morgan's in his human form. We've never seen it. So he could potentially be, but I don't know, because Morgan's, I feel like, is taken in this information, and Morgan's, as part of Roger's crew, would have known this. So I don't think that's the case. I don't think he would have been part of Roger's crew. As cool and exciting as that would have been, that's a very wild theory that gets me very excited, but I don't necessarily think that Morgan's was part of Roger's crew. But again, we never saw what he looked like in human form. It would be very funny if true. You guys are saying it was because he was in the egg. I think the timeline makes sense since he first appeared after God Valley, but that is still kind of wild. Morgan says a human form, says Mist. Yes, yeah, it's been confirmed. So in one of the Viver cards, and then also in an SBS as well, he clarified that Morgan's is the albatross fruit, devil fruit user, and that he's always in his hybrid form. And he doubled down on it during a recent thing with Robin and Chopper's little talks at the end of the Egghead episodes in the anime. We get that bit with them talking about Morgan's and talking about the fact that he always stays in his hybrid form, that he never leaves his hybrid form. So yeah, he does indeed have a human form. He just likes being Big Bird, which I don't blame him, you know? It's good optics. Shinx and Buggy were in Roger's crew too. They didn't see the One Piece. Yeah, but again, they stayed behind purposely. We saw that within the chapter. We have Ryuk saying, Roger, what's up with the small screen? It looks like the century-old video. Sorry, boss, but I like the full screen better. Well, if you like the full screen better, you can watch on Twitch or you could watch on the second channel. But I talked about this before. I mean, we're far into the stream. I could discuss it. The main reason why I'm doing these vertically now on YouTube, on the main channel, is due to the fact that every time I would go live, for the past 3 years, I would go live with the One Piece chapter horizontally, and I would lose subscribers after every time that I was live. I would literally lose subscribers every single time. I obviously love doing them, but I would lose subscribers whenever I would do it. The second I started doing vertical lives when I was out of town, I noticed that I was actually gaining subscribers every time off of these lives. I was gaining them actively. And then it's been the case every single time. And I see it on the back end analytics that we're getting new people discovering the stream for the first time and finding us for the first time via the vertical lives. It's significantly better for the algorithm. Hey, thank you, by the way, to Irving. Exactly. But I like giving people the option of watching horizontally still, because I know for a fact people enjoy watching the horizontal streams. But that is why I'm uploading them over to the live channel, over to the second channel. If you subscribe to the second channel that's in the description, we have the horizontal versions over there, either during or right after the streams are over. And we are streaming it live at the same time horizontally on Twitch. Left Jab is saying, I wonder why it makes a difference. I'll tell you why it makes a difference. I'll explain. The reason why it makes a difference, this is a little inside baseball. Some people might not care. I understand if you guys click off now. But the reason why it makes a difference is because people who are regularly looking for One Piece content in terms of videos will see a horizontal stream, think it is a video, click it, and think it's going to be like some highly edited type thing, like some Grand Line Review O'Hara type video. And when in actuality, it's not. It's us goofing around, talking, having theories, chilling, relaxing. And realistically, they're like, well, I don't want to watch an hour and a half long thing. I got things I got to do. And clearly this was streamed in the morning. I don't care about this. I'm going to watch later. But the people who are watching vertically on their phone and the people who are being alerted live are aware of the fact that it is a live stream, and it feeds to people's feeds via the shorts feed as opposed to the video feed. So that's a big reason as to why. So now we get a bunch of new people who come in every single stream who didn't know that I even covered One Piece anymore, who maybe followed me years ago from when I was uploading videos of my reactions and reviews and wasn't doing them as live streams, and then they're finding it again. Additionally, I feel like a lot of people in the morning are watching on their phones, and it's just easier to watch in their phones. And so when they're seeing that vertical format, it's full screen on the phone as opposed to being full screen on desktop. But I know most people who watch on desktop want to see it horizontal, myself included, which again is why I give the option for my second channel and why I have the option on my Twitch channel as well. But yeah, I mean, that's why I do them vertically now. That's just transparently, that's why. It's better for the algorithm, it's more fun, and it is what it is. Yeah. Artie came through and said, I don't actually think Morgan's human form is going to end up being important. To me, it's the perfect disguise for a news person because nobody can catch him. I mean, I do think I agree with you that nobody can catch him in that form, but I do genuinely believe that it will be important. I do think it will be important. I think when we do end up getting the reveal of Morgan's human form, that he could end up being someone integral to the story or someone important to the story. Do I think he's a member of Roger's crew? I do not. No, I do not. I don't think he's going to be, but I would love that. I would absolutely love it. Lucky came through and said, Roger, I think you might have misinterpreted it. Smoker is the one who was asking Tashigi where she was. Tashigi said that she was at the General Hospital since she went to the Sword members to rescue Kobe. Oh, I did totally misinterpret that. Wait a minute. Wait, I did. Toshigi, where are you? Oh, yeah, that is what's happening. It doesn't change the fact that Smoker is very obviously still on the way to the General Hospital to sync up. Interesting. But yeah, you are right. I did read that incorrectly. I read that reversed. I did not know that. Cool. Thank you for pointing that out. That's cool. Very, very cool. What is this? I do watch your streams like a podcast, mostly while I'm grinding in a game. Yeah, totally. Exactly. So it doesn't matter for a lot of people who are listening. And to be fair, actually, people who are watching my One Piece videos on YouTube know that the One Piece playlist is actually a podcast playlist. I did that a while ago to help for people who are audio-only listeners. I made it available as a podcast that also syncs to Spotify. So if you use YouTube Music and you go to the RogersBase page, the One Piece reviews show up as a podcast. So you can actually listen to the audio-only version of this, and it still counts as a view. And then that way you don't have to like watch the stream or whatever. You could be working out and listening to it. So yeah, that's why I like having the option for everybody. They got the vertical here on the main channel. You got the podcast version. You got the horizontal on Twitch and on the live channel. It's great, man. Absolutely great. Osei said in my Twitch chat, Roger, when are you coming to Dallas? Whenever a Dallas convention invites me. If a Dallas convention invites me as a guest, I'll come to Dallas. I always say to people, if you want me to come to your town, if you want me to come to your city, suggest me as a guest to whatever conventions you want me to go to. I feel like that's the number one big thing that nobody ever takes into consideration, is that these conventions want to see fan demand and literally have contact sheets where you can go, hey, I would really love to see you bring out this person. And if you do that and you suggest to a convention that I should come, I'm happy to come. Yeah. So let them know, because I'm always interested. Nero said, where do you think Smoker has been all this time? Last time we saw him was on Punk Hazard, and even in the cover stories, we only saw the girl treating the giants. I mean, to be honest, I don't know why Smoker and Toshigi are not together right now, because I honestly thought they were going to be with the kids, based on where we saw them in the cover spread. So I'm honestly confused. I don't know what he's been doing. I'm confused, and I don't even really have a good speculation. My question would be to you. Where do you think he's been? Joseph said the Shodai Kitetsu is too big for Zoro, which means he may not even have a chance to own it at some point, which is sad because unless all the Kitetsus are all smelted into one, it probably won't happen. Oh, I didn't even take into consideration that some of the swords would be smelted into other swords. That would be kind of cool. Wow. Let me see. We brought the stuff with Smoker. I think we kind of covered everything. Any last thing? I'm looking over on the Twitch chat as well. Maybe he just got rescued and was exhausted and got starved a bit. Oh, they're just having a discussion on Twitch about the Kobe stuff and the stuff with Smoker and the stuff with the Shigi. Yeah, I feel like for the most part, we're good. I think we've exhausted talking about the chapter. Jest says, when do you think the Knights are going to make a move? Probably Final War. When we're in Marijoa, I think that's when we're going to see them making a move. Yeah. The Holy Knights, you mean? I mean, there would be no other point for them to do anything outside of the Gorosei and the Marijoa. I think they're staying to Marijoa. I think that's when they're going to do it. Irving is in chat again, too, saying the 5 elders are stressing me. Dude, the 5 elders has consistently been stressing us out. We talked about that a little earlier, like the idea of the Gorosei and the Yonko and power levels and things like that. I feel like we're making it out of Egghead. I don't think any of the Straw Hats are going to die here. I don't think the Gorosei are going to do much more. I think like their main priority, as we saw during this chapter, is stopping Vegapunk's message and stopping the rest of the world from finding out what's happening. The fact that they left fighting Luffy, that Luffy was like, wait a minute, the boar's not chasing us anymore, I feel like probably means something. So Fahad said, Roger, you missed something after he said those who bear the name of D. I did not. We talked about that earlier during the stream. We talked about that. Scroll back a little bit on the stream. We discussed that. The to those who bear the name of D thing. Kobe seemed not super worried about Garp, so I guess that they're thinking that he'd survive regardless. Well, I think we already kind of saw their reactions to Garp, quote-unquote, dying, right? So I don't think it's not that they're not worried about it. I think it's now they're just recovering and they got other fish to fry and they're focusing on the message. But I think they are definitely still scared for Garp. I also don't believe Garp is dead. I think Garp was frozen by Kuzan the same way that Saul was frozen. And that I do think by the end of the series, Garp is going to die. But realistically, I think, Garp will, do one more thing by the end of the story. Yeah. He'll be fine to a point. And then I think that's going to be it. And then I think that'll be the end for Garp. I don't see it making it out of the story alive, but I do think he's going to do one more thing. Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, I greatly appreciate all you guys being here. Thank you very, very much for coming through the stream. Thank you to all of my members. As always, I greatly appreciate all of you. If you want to become a member of the channel, the join button's right down below. It allows me to do what I do on a daily basis. It allows me to bring all my videos to you and make videos on content that I'm feeling passionate about. I don't have to be at the behest of the algorithm other than the vertical streams. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you all. Again, I want to give a big shout out to all my members, all the people who donated during the stream, all the people that came through during the stream, all the viewers that came through during the stream. Gabrielle saying, have a good one. Thank you very much. I will obviously see you all next week. There's no break, thankfully. That's going to be fantastic. I'll be here bright and early, 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. Obviously, this upcoming week is going to be exciting. There's rumors of a Nintendo Direct happening on Tuesday. That's going to be great. Looking forward to that. And yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting week. Shadow of the Erdtree is coming out for Elden Ring. There's going to be a lot of good content, a lot of stuff coming. So thank you once again, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.